Text 1, 2, 3. Señora, we're already ready. Good evening, folks. Samson To again. I'm here on a special night. First of all, I apologize for the delay. I've been having some serious technical issues. I'm not too sure if it's going to proceed here tonight. If so, we will apologize and we will move on. Those of you that have the opportunity to watch this show tonight, please share with all your friends. I just not able to share right now. So, Mr. Alfonso Zion, so if you're listening, I'd like for you to share this video for me, please. So, those of you that are watching, please share this video. I'm not even able to dance tonight because I'm way behind time. So, I want to tell you, thank you very much for listening. Those of you that are listening, we say thank you very much. Those of you that are also listening, please share this video as soon as possible. We apologize for coming on late. We will do our best again to bring Mr. Yano on a very beautiful time. He's with us, but let's keep going here and see how far we're going with this here tonight. It's a wonderful program. I just hope that I will be able to have some cooperation with my whatever that I have here tonight, please, God. Jesus, Samson To. Okay, so that's okay. I will be moving up and down tonight, and so just bear with me as I try to do the best as I can here. We will be, I believe now we're getting ready to go live with Mr. Yano, so please stay with us, Samson To, LIBERIA Public Radio. Let's go ahead now and welcome Mr. Yano. And like I said, I'm going to be moving back and forward here because I'm doing everything by myself. So my stuff. Mr. Yano, thank you very much. Good evening, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Samson. It's nice to be on your show.
Thank you very much. First of all, I apologize for the delay. It's been a hectic evening here for me. I'm not able to do some stuff that I like to do, but I apologize, and I want to thank you very much for your patience, for staying with us tonight. Thank you very much. We appreciate you being on here, and we're not going to keep you for long tonight, because I think being gracious to join us this evening is a wonderful thing, and we will do our best to move this thing as quickly as possible. First of all, how you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank God.
Thank you, Mr. Yano. Okay, I know we're way behind. Let's just go straight into the process right now. But first of all, I promise that we will bring you on again, and hopefully by then, the equipment, the technical side, Mr. Nathaniel Cry report will help us out to get it together quickly. And so he's the technical man anyway. But I want to thank you very much, and hopefully when we bring you on another time, we'll have enough time to talk. Let's start the conversation. Welcome, Mr. Llano, on Libera Public Radio again, once again. Mr. Llano, let me ask you this. I know you've been away from those of us in the community for quite a while now. Could you just briefly tell us, because everybody, you don't need to introduce yourself, but if you care, you can throw in your opening statement. Let me do it that way. Can you give us few opening statement here, sir?
Well, my name is William Yanu, like you said. And for those who don't know me, I'm a civil engineer by training. Work here in Chicago. Married. I have 4 children, 4 grandchildren. I've been married now for, I think next year is going to be 37 years. In the last few years, I've been on a project in Liberia. Of course, I served the graduate community too for quite some time. I was the national president at the time. But I've been heavily involved in the community besides holding leadership roles.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So let's go on. In the last couple of years, you've been gone because we know who you are. You've been gone. Could you just briefly, if you don't mind, tell us where were you and what were you doing, if you care to tell us,
Yes,
sir?
for the last almost 6 years, I've been in Liberia, actually in and out, providing technical assistance to an African Development Bank financed urban water supply and sanitation project. We were doing infrastructure work in Monrovia, Kakata, Buchanan, and Zwedru. Basically rehabilitating the water supply systems in those cities.
I see. Okay, folks, that's the voice again. I should looking at Mr. Yano, who is here with us tonight, and we're really, really happy to have him on here. Mr. Yano, let's talk a little bit about your engineer. Now, folks, those of you that are listening at this time, engineer meet engineer, something to run away. I'm just giving it to you. On a very serious note, those of you that know me, whenever I come on, I said there are better engineers, better Liberian engineers than me. And here is one of them. We got plenty of them. But here is Mr. Yano. Mr. Yano, let's talk a little bit from an engineering perspective and engineering conversation. You were over there in Liberia, as you said, doing some infrastructure work and stuff like that, water and sewer corporation working for them. Uh, the question is, what were some of the uh, important, well, not important, some of the things that you did that are standing out, people can see?
Well, something my role actually was to provide technical assistance to the implementing agency of the project. The urban water supply and sanitation project, like I said before, the bank, through that project, the bank funded the rehabilitation of the White Plains water treatment plant. We completely redid the system in Buchanan. We rehabilitated the one in Kakata and in Zwedru. And my specific role was the bank had a team, the project management team that supervised the project. And my specific role was to assist this team interface with the various contractors and consultants. So I review their submitters, I review their reports, vetted their IPC, their interim payment certificates, inspected their work, make sure they are in compliance with the contract and the technical spec. My role in a nutshell was to make sure that the various contractors and consultants deliver in accordance with their contracts. And then also was to assist the PMT, like I said, to pass on to them technical skills on the job training for the young people they had on the project.
I see. Yeah, one of the things that I missed was when I went to Liberia to do some training myself. At that time, you and I, when you were coming, I was going, so it was unfortunate that I wasn't able to see you there in Liberia. But as an engineer, and I know you've seen a lot of work around town, Monrovia, and things like that. First thing, let me ask you from an engineering perspective, when it comes to safety, how will you rank the Liberian engineering process when it comes to safety?
Well, you know what? I think there's a whole lot that needs to be done. Liberian engineers are doing the best they can. The first year I was in Liberia, the Liberian Engineering Society requested my help to help them um, register through the legislature. They wanted to be able to license practicing engineers. We went before, I assisted them before one of the houses subcommittees to kind of justify why the society needed to be registered and why engineers needed to be licensed. The difficulty in Liberia, I don't think it's something that just came about recently. We've always struggled with implementation of policies and standards. And that's one of the difficulties they are having. There doesn't seem to be rigorous enforcement of standards. I'm not even sure, uh, how much standards we have in the country, but definitely there has been some challenges in enforcing standards. You see on construction site, for example, you're going and there's some construction on a road and there are no warning signs to say, you're approaching construction site. Or if there are detours, there are no signs until you get to the detour itself. I mean, stuff like that. And in terms of standards, again, I'm not really aware. Those of us who grew up in Liberia will know one of the challenges is about zoning. People are building everywhere. And I'm not aware if in fact the country has a real written zoning policy that needs to be followed. But like everything else, the challenge in Liberia when it comes to engineering is, getting standards and then enforcing those standards.
I see. Again, folks, if you're listening, Samson to Labron Public Radio, my guest this evening, Mr. Llano, William Llano, who also is the big time engineer, bigger than me in terms of engineering. And much more experience than Samson Toh. He has done all. So I am also here this evening to pick his mind. Mr. Llano, I've been on here running my mouth about things that I see public work ministry for me they were not doing correctly. I give you an example. Quite recently, the president was able to go to the area what they call Doe community and told the people in the community that they were going to build them a road. And as you know, at this time, it's raining in Liberia. So immediately when the president left, within about a week or so, the public work went, not even a week, in a matter of days, public work went over there and started digging in the rainy season. And I started running my mouth here on my show how I feel that doing a construction work, specifically road construction work in the rainy season, was not going to do us good because my justification for telling that this is not correct, and I want you to say if I'm wrong, please do so. Don't feel anything. Don't feel sympathy for me if I'm wrong because I want my audience to know that what I'm saying is wrong. And then that's why, like I said, getting information from you will be helpful to me as well in terms of learning. So if I'm wrong, stay so. If my reasoning is engineering reasoning, if it's wrong, please stay so. Because if you do a roadway, going back to the road, if you do a roadway, you need to have some sort of a dry condition where you will be able to have a compaction. Say 95. I'm not too sure if they're capable of achieving 95% compaction in Liberia. So I'm not even going to touch that. But the fact that it was raining and the rain soaking through and they decided to roll the dirt, I thought they were asking for trouble because eventually the water going to settle down and meet certain clay area and stay there, and they will try to pave over or whatever. Then my point that I was making, when the summer dry season comes on, with the heat from the sun, the water underneath the pavement will try to evaporate. It going nowhere until they find a little hole, and boom, here comes a pothole because of the construction process. So I thought the process itself was flawed. I thought they should have waited until the summer, the dry season, before they start construction. Was my engineering reasoning wrong?
Mhm. No, Samson, your engineering reason is not wrong. And I don't think there is an engineer at the Ministry of Public Works who will say your engineering reason is wrong. I think the thing we have to maybe remind ourselves, Liberian engineers know what they're doing. So engineers at the Ministry of Public Works know that you're not going to get compaction in when the soil is wet. I mean, they know that. But we have to be in sympathy with them, because sometimes, um, directives are given from the higher ups, and sometimes it's difficult to say no. But I expect when they go to do the construction itself, because right now I don't think they can do that work. I mean, Monrovia, I've seen on the internet, is being flooded now for I don't know how many days. So I don't think they're going to do the work. Um, but the thing is, and that's why I think engineers should get involved in public policy, right? Because they can educate their colleagues who don't have technical background to say, though you want this thing, but conditions are not right, and here is why. Because sometimes when your boss said do something, it's difficult to say no, especially now that the expectations in Liberia are high. But my expectation is that even if public works attempted to do that work, um, they will endeavor to do it right. But your engineering is correct, and I assure you, the guys at public works know too that your engineering is right.
I see. So let's go a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more engineering, and then after the conversation on engineering, then we can go into the Liberian political arena as well. And the reason why I'm doing that, I want people to get the grasp of your full spectrum. In other words, your full background. Not only are you engineer, but you've been involved in the community for a very long time. You've been involved in the Liberian politics for a very long time as well. So let's talk a little bit more about the engineering conversation that I have here, and then let's talk specifically in this storm. What I consider 100-year storm that just happened 2 or 3 days or 4 days ago, because if you look at, I was in Liberia, so I'm just speculating because I have no way I can do the gauge, investigate and find out what a waterfall gauge or whatever it is. So I'm just speculating. But from just looking at the pictures, the video, I will consider that to be like 100-year flood, 100-year rainstorm that was able to generate so much water in so short time, which the pipes and the other thing were unable to convey the water from one point to another, which of course generated all of the flood. But the question that I want to ask you, you were in Liberia. When I was there, one of the things that I noticed is that people build on these areas that are designated for waterway, and there is no mechanism for the government. I'm not too sure. They're not pushing the people to say you can't build here. As a result, the drainage are clogged up. People are not taking care of their own community correctly when it comes to drainage issue. They waste water that full of dirt, full of plastic, full of cloths, and just dump it in the baby diaper. Just dump everything in it and hoping that water will come and sweep it away. So my question to you is, why is it, as you correctly stated, the engineers at public work are very smart, and I know some of them. Why is it that they're not able to have this type of conversation with a community to say you can't do this and you can't do that and be serious about it? The only time you hear them having conversation in terms of crisis management, then they want to bring this kind of conversation. So now the question to you is, why you think these people are not able to convince the community for them to be able to take care of their stuff, sir? Please.
Something there are challenges on the ground that I think you only get to appreciate when you've been there for some time. Certainly, I think in terms of capacity building, there's a lot of work that needs to be done in that area. In fact, while I was there, the Liberian Society of Engineers asked me to do a workshop for them on floodplain management and erosion control. And that was one of the things we talked about because, I mean, you were talking about the flood you've seen is 100-year flood. It may not be 100-year flood because one of the things as an engineer, the runoff from any rainfall is a function of the area, the rainfall itself, the rainfall intensity, and the runoff coefficient. So even if the intensity is the same, how many inches of rain will fall in an hour, and the area is the same, but you change the runoff coefficient, depending on what you change to, the runoff will be different. So for example, if you used to have wetland or you used to have grassy area, now you've built there and you've paved the place over. You see the coefficient will go there from maybe 0.05 and maybe you go up to maybe 0.9. So the rainfall intensity might be the same, but your runoff will increase, sometimes 10-fold, 20-fold. And again, it goes back to the point that I was making. Are there regulations? I mean, when I did a workshop the workshop that I'm talking about, one of the things I suggested to them, because there are two ways you can handle these issues. One is through structural means, like you were saying, the drainages are clogged. So you go and clean them, or the cover is small. So you go and build a bigger cover to carry the flow. But there are also non-structural means. And non-structural means are the ones that you talked about before. Are there regulations to say you can't build here, you can't develop this land here? But if you develop it, we have to estimate how much runoff is going to come off. And then you have to show us how you're going to take care of that runoff, right? So again, it's a matter of policies. In this country, you go to the different municipalities, there are municipal codes that tell you what you can and cannot do. And those are the things that don't exist in Liberia. And those are, for us in the engineering community, those are the things we have to contend with. But you have to have partners in the political area, in order for you to do these things. And some of the challenges you find in Liberia too. Sometimes engineers don't have the means to do what they really need to do. I know a colleague who was supervising a project in one of the outlying counties who was saying to me, the only way he went to the site to inspect the work, and he was actually there to inspect the work, but the only way he got there was when the contractor took him. He didn't have his own vehicle. So sometimes while I recognize the need for capacity building, sometimes there are just some serious constraints that don't allow whether they are engineers or teachers or or other professionals to do the work that they know they need to do.
I see. Again, folks, if you're listening, Samson, to as Mr. Nyano is talking, I'm wrapping my hair because I think I'm smart. No, I'm just kidding. But let Mr. Nyano, before I come back to you, there's last show, if you go and do the research, I mentioned to you about how you do water share and how the pavement and the roof over the building and the grassy land, wetland, the different many equation. Those are the equation Mr. Yano is making reference to, and that's how you calculate your runoff, and that's exactly what point that I've been making. Okay, so if you go and develop the place, as Mr. Yano correctly stated, you're changing the existing condition. You're changing the condition. It used to be a wetland before, grassy land. So the grass themselves, the money equation that is used for grass is lower because the grass, the water comes out, the runoff, the grass themselves, they consider to be energy dissipator. So the speed of the runoff will not be as high as the speed on the pavement. And that's exactly what Mr. Yano was talking about. By the way, let me go back to Mr. Yano. Mr. Yano, now, you mentioned earlier that things are the challenges are there for our brothers and sisters who are in the engineering field. Then the question that I have is this: if you know Mr. Nyano, quite well, you know the policy. There's no way somebody would tell you to build something, knowing fully well that this is something that is against your engineering practices. Why would these brothers and sisters accept a work like that? I'll give you an example. Most of the Morea Highway have no shoulder. The taxi driver take you, they put you right in the middle of the road because they don't want to get off the road because they drop off from the pavement, from the top of the pavement to the nearest dropping point. Some of them like what, maybe 2, 3 feet high. Why are these brothers and sisters are not demanding that these things being taken care of? They allow people to build stores, buildings, no parking lot. Right there on Tottenham Boulevard, they have this huge bank. It has no parking lot. So, Mr. Yano, the question is, why do these people engineering ethic take kicks in to say, if I'm not going to do it with ethical behavior, I don't want to do it at all? When would they do that?
Well, again, I wouldn't want to criticize the technical people back home. I think you have to walk in a man's shoes before you can really know, what it's like to walk in their shoes. I think some of these things are difficult. And then, I mean, I think the first thing we have to recognize is that, for me, I give Liberian engineers the benefit of the doubt that they know what they're doing. I mean, we all went to engineering school. We all know how these things should be built. Sometimes the challenge you have is resource scarcity. Say if you have, $1 million to build a road and to pave it, um, but when after you've done your estimate, you say it's going to cost $1 million, and then when time comes, maybe you get three-quarters of that. What do? Do you say, you know, we're not going to build it because we don't have $1 million, or instead of building, 1 mile, we're going to build half a mile so that we can put in all the things that we should be there? Or should we pave the whole 1 mile and maybe leave out the shoulder, maybe leave out the sidewalk? I think those are difficult decisions. I think when people do those things, either out of ignorance or deliberately for personal gain, then that's when we have an issue, right? And those are things it's difficult to know unless you are actually involved, a little more deeply with the works, to have a sense of why they don't do that. But I know Liberian engineers know that. They know these things that you're talking about. I know in my area on the Rawafi Highway, at least twice now, the Ministry of Public Works has gone in and they built a shoulder. Again, how far they went with building the shoulder depending on how much resources they had. But they did it. They built the shoulders. And then the difficulties they have too is once the shoulders were built, then the motorists, instead of using them as shoulder, they're using them as roadway. And then within no time, the shoulders will deteriorate because all they did was put in lateral and compacted them. They didn't pave them. And that's how it should be. But then police can't keep no motorists on the main road. The shoulders then become the road. So I mean, those are challenges that the guys over there are going through. And I think we need to be a little sympathy with them.
Thank you very much. Again, folks, Samson To, my guest this evening, Honorable Wolanyano, who's giving me some real insight of what is happening in Liberia. I was in Liberia just for 2 months, but he's been there for almost 6 years. So I think by him explaining to me here tonight, because what we're expecting, it's not what I'm getting. What I was expecting is for him to, row, Samson, you're right, let's go get there. But the fact that he himself lives over there for 10 years, I think he has a true, genuine sympathies for these brothers and sisters. And I think I need to tone my rhetoric down a little bit. Even if things are not right, I think I will follow Mr. Yano's advice and try to put myself in these brothers and sisters' shoes and see how far we can go. Mr. Yano, one more last engineering question, and then we will go on to our other subject matter. And this is about home, Grandjide. Quite recently, immediately when the superintendent took office, they decided to widen or put some attic and fix the attic. Rainy season, mind you. But what equipment they were using? Front end loader. And I looked at it. At first, I thought it was funny. because the front end loader, you're using front end loader to grade. And once the front end hit a pothole or something else, the blade or the bucket will go deeper and take up more dirt than what you intended. So as a result, you continue to make these series of holes as you go on. But now, not that particular one that really concerned me after I started looking at it. They were building it during rainy season as well. In fact, as they rained the day before. Now, it said that our brothers and sisters cannot even see that these things are not supposed to be done. Or is there some sort of a political pressure that these brothers and sisters must fulfill, certain pressure they must fulfill in order to be a genuine political leader in our community?
Well, the thing is, I can't speak to the specific issue in Grand Juda. I didn't see that. I mean, but generally speaking, you know that things in Liberia are a little different now. In the 70s and the 80s, what used to happen, public works used to have maintenance crew strategically situated around the country. There was the contingent in our area was stationed in Zwedru. And you had people who may not have had engineering degrees, but who had practiced construction for quite some time and they had the experience. Today, you don't have those people. First of all, the whole concept of public works was redefined when Mrs. Salif came to power. The idea was public works should get out of the construction business and be a regulatory authority. And so that all construction work should give to the private sector, and then public works will just supervise. So you don't have a public works contingent in Grand Juda. Not only that, but you don't have the technical people there. So why it might, seem obvious that you should not do road work during the rainy season, especially the kind of rain we have in Liberia, sometimes it's not so obvious to some people. And that's why, I mean, we're going to talk, like you said, a little bit more about the political situation. That's why I really think that Liberia needs to be decentralized. There are quite a few young Nigerians in Monrovia who've got engineering degree, and they're in Monrovia. Or not, if Liberia were decentralized and these counties can have their own construction crews and stuff like that, some of these young engineers will go back to their various counties and they will help with the technical solution to some of these problems. But sometimes the technical capability is just not there. It's just not there. And then, of course, you wouldn't rule politics out of some of these things, but, if you have good technical people, I'm sure some of these political people will listen. But sometimes the capability is not there.
Okay, again, folks, Samson to Liberian Pub Radio. My guest this evening, Mr. Wolonyano, engineer, someone who has been involved in the Liberian politics here in the diaspora for a very long time, and went home to help. So let's continue the conversation now, Mr. Yano. Let's pivot back to the political aspect of the situation that is happening in Liberia right now.
But Samson,
yes.
Before we go to the political, let me just say this.
Yeah, please.
And hopefully someone from the Ministry of Public Works will hear me, and then maybe they can appear on your show one of these days to educate the Liberian public.
Mr. Yano, can you turn your phone up a little? Can you flip your phone up to the ceiling a little bit so we'll see your whole up? There we go, right there. Now, I don't want people to say that I intentionally cut your head off. Go ahead.
Okay,
go ahead, sir.
All right. No, I was saying I'm hoping someone from the Ministry of Public Works will be listening to this show, and maybe they can come on at a later date and kind of educate the general public. Because I went to Zwedru. I've been in Liberia close to 6 years, and every year I went to Zwedru once or twice. Like I said, the work that I was supervising, one of the sites was Zwedru. We were rehabilitating the water supply system in Zwedru. And I went to Zwedru. On one of those trips, I went during the rainy season. And the road was bad. The road was really bad. I mean, I took some pictures that I shared with some friends. But something, if you were to go on that road, and I'm sure like the other roads that we have problem with annually, I don't think you need to be an engineer to know what the problem is. And it seems to me, for some reason, the solution is escaping people who are supposed to fix the problem. Because you know that in the 70s and even in the 80s, we drove from Zwedu to Monrovia throughout the year. We did, rainy season or dry season. But when you go on those roads now, you can tell what happened. You can see what happened. Because the way we maintain roads in Liberia, gravel roads in Liberia, is to grade the roads. So after every rainy season, with all the potholes, the grader will come and cut down the gravel layer. And you know, you are in the highway engineering business. There are certain sections of the road where the soil is bad, where it's mainly clay. And what would they do in road construction? They go and get borrowed material. In other words, they go look for a place where there's high gravel content, and they take that gravel and bring it to the clay place and spray and compact it until they get the layers that they need. And the way we maintain roads, what we do is that borrowed material they brought, we cut it down every year after rainy season. And then what eventually happens, we get down to the clay. All the borrowed material is gone.
Clay, water
And
not
once
going
you
anywhere.
get to the clay, then when it rains, you get mud.
Exactly.
So it seems to me that a simple, quick solution to making this road passable, even before you get to pavement, is to build them back up. The clay sections, build them back up. Because when you drive on these roads, you see they're not all bad.
No,
There are specific sections along the road that are bad. Why don't we just build them back up? And where the covers are broken, put in new covers. And then once these roads are passable, then we can talk about paving them. It's going to cost a lot of money to pave them. So it just, I just don't understand why we can't have a targeted program that says the 10 or 5 spots on the road between Monrovia and Secretary, or between Ganta and Secretary, or Ganta and Town, that these 10 spots will fix them this dry season. We'll build a road back up, bring in borrowed material and build it back up, put new covers. I don't understand why we can't do that. And that's what I'm hoping, maybe there's a legitimate reason why it's not being done. And that's what I'm hoping maybe somebody from the Ministry of Public Works will hear my confusion and my, not understanding what's happening. And maybe they can come on your show and educate us a little bit.
Thank you, Mr. Yano. When I went to Liberia, I went to Granji there, and the whole day from Ganta all the way to Town, I was able to videotape. Got out of my car and demonstrated some of the things that you just talked about. The roads, they continue to cut it down. That when they take out, like you said, they take all the gravel out, they get to the clay, and clay doesn't soak water in as much. If it does, it becomes soupy and it becomes mud, and you can't use it. Now, I've been showing some stuff here since I got back. I've been showing a lot of roads, especially between Secretary, between Ganta and Tapeta. One of the things that I noticed on driving on that road is that most of the ditches is in the middle of the road. I'm not too sure why, but my speculation is they don't even have slope where you have 2% crown, and you have water going here left and right. They don't have it. When they grade the road towards the middle. As a result, when the rain comes, it goes, and the hills don't even help us because the hill drive all the water down and they find the middle of it. But anyway, that's a different topic that we will discuss on at another time. But thank you for bringing that up, because now people who might have the ability to go and review my video, they will understand some of the things that I was talking about. These are things that people need to do. They can fix them. It's not like they're not able to fix it, but for some reason they're not listening. And those who are in position, they are not even suggesting to have this thing fixed. And I don't mean to keep you on the road business because you're an engineer. I don't want to keep you on there. But you have Minister of Public Work, Deputy Minister of Public Work will allow a politician who is not an engineer to say, I want a major highway to be constructed within the next 3 years. You're talking about bridges. You're talking about safety of the road. You're talking about all the safety element of the road. And you say 3 years. You're not gonna get it. Look at the Kakata Montreal Highway. They took the same alignment where Tottenham Bonan died back in 19 Wui, just pave it. Now they're having accident left and right because it's just not up to standard. By the way, thank you for your comment. Let's just go ahead and go straight to the political issue of Liberia. Quite recent, of course. Since the last time you and I talked, at that time, the election was coming around. The election is over now. We have a new president, Dr. Weah. Uh, from your own political perspective, which of course you're not somebody who is new in this business, what do you make of this new government in terms of all the rumor road that's going around? What is your own thinking on it, sir?
Well, my thinking is that it really didn't matter who had won that election. Um, whether it was Cummings or Boyka or Bromsky, I think anyone who had won that election, they were bound to face some serious challenges, some of which this new government is facing right now. Because all the signs pointed to difficulties. Revenues had dropped, export had dropped, demand for everything had gone way up. So to me, I expected that whoever had won was going to face some real serious challenges. This government, as would be expected, is facing those challenges. I think the real question is, whether they have an appreciation of the challenges and what it would take to confront those challenges. Because the problem we have in Liberia is something, to be realistic, those are not problems they're going to solve in the next 12 months. I mean, in a way to bring the kind of relief that we're looking for. They're going to take some time. And my advice to people before the election, every time we talked about, the next government before the elections were held, my advice to people was, if you're serious about confronting these challenges, the first thing you really needed to do was to level with the Liberian people after you've won and say, look, we're going to have some difficult times, right? And the assurance I believe the Liberian people are looking for is you're going to be in the difficult times with them. If everybody is sacrificing, and then there are good managers, they can see evidence that you have capable managers who is just a matter of time, is a year or 18 months, that thing will turn. Then I think people will be patient. Right now, I think this government is struggling to get a balance on how to confront the challenges they're having. I know there are a lot of capable Liberians. If they can find them and bring them together and be willing to be exemplary in the things that they would need to do, to confront these challenges, then they will be headed on in the right direction. Right now, I think they're still trying to find a balance.
Again, folks, Samson to Labran Pub Radio, my guest this evening, Honorable William Yano, who's giving us some real information here, and we truly appreciate that. Mr. Yano, I'm gonna, those of you that are listening, I want you guys to understand that I'm about ready to twist this conversation. Mr. Yano, we're gonna go ahead and if you want, folks, if you want to excuse yourself, please don't hesitate. We appreciate you tuning in. But now we're gonna go into our own dialect because I want to see Mr. Yano. He's been in Monrovia, been in Liberia for 6 years. I've been out of there for a while now. Let me see if my crown is a little bit still sharp. Mr. Yano, Ruawama.
Something blue.
I want my way.
Poinsuazio.
So that point detail in the LIBERIA in jogba no trouble. And moi can joke was where I get it. Ponere dabira ni ane we ka nyano obledable de comna dio or oble a private company or they thinking be no lo ablinyon we ponere in the ya in that one they will be no le lo ablinyon we no pre na ro wa chi ande ojugwa chi de we ja yi.
Well, something question our question general because when I see I believe on you and where you know and I agree man no warrants so kwambo. They Andre you know I'm bon kwan. Because when they believe come you know there's a only I believe you there's a cranio do more you more direct mind no more the whole black cracking you. The more dance through our globe Kwande, you know, because you in a clan ya been as you have been into it, being in a crack by the abli, damn, Pobado, we are going on board, I can't go on Kwan, about office Kwan. They, you know, you where school, where university, because I'm probably moon, you more down and turning a certificate. But where school they do and no engineering. You know, no engineering degree or no then one, you know, technical there. Because do one say, you know, say you they play someone no but don't play technical, technical one. Yeah. It does do okay, I'm on jibo. Then jibo no I'm a jibo. Yamu de bon number. You know, and do ya me canny, and ya me canny. So, monje them better no Yamunda. They Nambo is something, yes, I will do. And the man, you know, we are deck mine, you know, no could be an idea, we are deck mine. So, as I you will have clever, more you so no day, Quanje, you quana mon no. Monsieur no ajibo, Yamo, Mr. Yango, Bambo, here, chia, bon quite one no. Right, so, acquire being, you know, boy popo. You know, when you're that chan de jet. You money so when they are by can they moon, you quam one j day or no. But, you know, ever declare in both something. I'm do you can hear my canny. They da a berry a poor, you know, bore, but yet there, they are opo.
So they are believe right now the Grand County, Uble Grand College, Community College. When you're out here, you go Chile. You say you can say there Chile, you go. There were no recommendation there. They community college, you know, one day, more child rebeke, more Dr. Yalo Rubeke, Ukluniana, one bonia, you know. They went there, you Lucia that for no card, yeah, bring no player, one more dead yet, because posted as you go, yeah, come on, you go technical, then no, you can all be, yeah, they community college. I don't know, probably technical, but there were no floor on there, you do a poor.
Well, question general. Actually, team one berry. Yeah, no vacation tea. So, you know, you know, more, you know, do community college book. You, we are currently kind. So, as you, you crabby as you, Jerry, near my one black. So, a command, Monsieur, there no one more, Monsieur Jibo de Jet, you know, yeah, command, yeah, okay, no. But there Zade more use one when they have the moon the especially Yerana, they have been moon, I'm big. Yeah, mucha in the dinner in the out, Lord, you and I bleed the joint in do jibo deje. Canan unjibu but unjibu and do jibo, you know. But there's those good devil, especially technical college. They are more probably I have green nanny, especially more or 20 there. community college now do example bo da kwa group na do de aberi aye nyinu toni de mun gwari technical college da de ye kwanu da gberi o no branch de because bara toni nyinu de abli de mun gwari zugu de danya onya kwanje de do edubo ya we se atiwe so ya kwa group na subject ja ye teaching no community college da de mo nyinu mun gwari onya jiwe kwanje da gberi da o da branch de de mo we nyu anu kwani ablibo mblembe duo no onile onu tito yaji yono isi kwambo kana na oble the project o USAID or European Union bo o se da go ola bill bluba nyu blia da la biola ola bluba onu bluba geno si bluba ya kre ni la biola ene da ma du dia blia mu ku ola infa mu grebe bin du onya ka just onya nyu toni ka bluba onu ajiri ni mo ora mu du oyan dera oyan blend zare nje gberi ne pe wa nyu kla ebo de na oyan na eglu ablobadi so mo technical calendar for example la hawo because technical calendar we la biro du bona mo jo ammonium branch de focus mu agriculture de amo anu atone anu agriculture de ese mu gwe yin kwa bon. Yeah, I don't know manje. Amu, NGO ni mo goli vero de ni amu kwa mo nure. Job atonu agriculture de mu gwe de ha. Amu ajewa agriculture project no. Just ni wuri inyo embo pa. Oya glistari, ya oya glistari. Oya queen glistari. Oya oil palm glistari. Akwa de bon mo nyinu mu tia de gwe. De amu de mberi oya ajewa kwanje. Ese goma kwan wede did I me akwa blue nani maybe ara okay kwara ble o diao plan ya kre wura bli e goni anu atone denye carpenter general no de furniture no la bi de my boy furniture general no yemu grande de we so did I me akwa de I that way I do that way po aya o wuri eju abli da mo poe so ba poe de jo kwianyo na die right so mo nyunu gware suku unya jewe kwanje ese nyu akre mo governor kwanje de but did I unji wanyu na community college njiwa Gabriel anjiwa nani ngruwe ba kwa yubo pa de go mura ha ka mo anu de la wuri da mo ni de la no de akra yon de pa we ra ya bon de mo de no because njibo modelado has gum paro gberi e ko no po modelado has ura o de o umble real machine shop da you know mo de real mechanic de tia de mo gwe mo njibo mechanic de da o de mo bon ma yo ye ke lanko ide ya kwanje putu maya ni o da o putu ma na je mo ja ya jiblo amu aya ora ni amodiza atone ayu dera kana de electrician dera inu ele mechanic dera inu le mo yiso ado mo na hawa kani pudu ma na o so mo na drubo o counter through ganta ira o de so boanyu de inu ni au beri ni grande unye dira o jibo already but dira mi akwa idea mo na whole county aya o da mo uri e poe de ba poe o de gene no de nyinu so gwa azugusu de unjibo chide su jo kwan de kman
okay awo mabrio sense lo yiro wa ole ke wono nyanu ke ateto ani abliru di inyo se abliru you go na mbo awe because that say ya pokiru ama fun nche ase kwiru da we na abliru anwuru cheye abliru na Mr. Nyano Mountain question you because blah this read the through lo na dia unwa na kwa gbe mo representative represent they from Grand G there unwa senator beyond in the abli for 6 years there were no there when je the nyo we no ebe a we ba wo si enu or unu de epe employ da we unu epe employ ye na be ya lo si ara yu ba
Well, something. You know, then what that boy and more did because more vote. They did their number vote. They are winning. Yeah, more vote. Amonja pobo. Konwa kwanwe. Amonja pobo. Yeah, more vote. Kuyara amo bo tira jira amo onu kwanjena nyu apode. Or ama or try just you in so you are born your slow or depo. Because then you believe there's as only even Tino grind their place and say not they are za and no county jay and no county papo de. Kuyada is a rocket sign. I be work on the slow kick in Jibo dirawe. I put a wee agriculture dio, I put you know scholarship un Jibo dia clear. They are more different no do you do a cover crew do you Jibuya. They better and no enu different clever. Then by then no care. I bring you na jed we zane. Akwa that we ba. They you know how represent they in senator they mblia jeka. And ya japo come on then onya because representative town senator son onya they that we je. They are Powa beja po blisuja something when I bring mozi ganta every time the ganta anje ganta ye ganta where driwo where kakabli where driwo so by the where bring you no ne government di amwa daus rubli anje kwibli amwa you know London yin anje ade da wo mu abli di abli now ye kan no mu ayin sejibo so you know our resident they send quite that way back. They soon that way po. They are okay no because one you can as ya. So more assembly meeting me moon. So or can they assembly meeting them moon because do one in ano mura be the jide. So say groups that say can or can say no say I'll die. You that was also because you want finish to grow now you know the wood zone so that way. So a walk about why you buy it that way because that way they would weble yamu then do grand level.
che yo we tenne ka we no nya no da mabrio awon o se abriru go kelu ka mo da Osi abliru yugo ke emo abla ola chiejod we intenne. Ao mzanyano. Anyara yuba abliru di ro di agba. Question we school we me kwiru de di gbado de. Di ablia amu anya po ara anyi chie po. Go mo change wo imlu gbebli. Taga long so ke ula mo swanya for sensida mo swanya for nya we mo no sano nyo ka we nda
Something anyini nyanu. In fact untin deve balao what can you oh John we very dear anyini se nyanu anyini mo nyanyo and then you want jibe then nyanu nyini na how something and we wanted that way the whole that do already unze ke mangu unze nyanu nyini won unze sano mo unze nyanu nyini won unne grand jire do nyini na do enni de mba mo clown king o de do che meson bro you do babli mana sano mo sano we mo Maryland doing gwe alao do bro you ni na babli do on kuri unru babli enji gberi do gberi do mo ne zugu gberi zugu on te npa kire menyandi before am owuro ye do mo de rex mo so nyon ya o Wula nyanu say ose change you or say crank you are more down say di because you know nyanu nyine au une de abidu ngulu. Dero ba
Okay.
abidu ngulu. Mo le abi agency mo inde no chance ni or no kunembo or no bazon. Do abi blood do nyanu nyine ngulu.
Yawo. Mara ita ye chia ipole yo je me upon politics when you je insia ge duwa amen tayo. Okay, folks, Samson told Labron Public Radio. I just spoke with Mr. Nyano in our dialect, and it was needed. We needed to have some serious conversation with respect to Grand Jida County and Grangidians. The reason being, we have some old folks among us that perhaps don't understand the English language correctly. But I wanted Nyano to address that whatever question I have in Kra, for him to address it so that people that are listening that speak Kra will understand what are some of the things we're talking about. Mr. Nyano, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. We gonna be on here for maybe 2 more minutes, and I'll, if you don't mind, then I'll open the line up for people to ask you questions and what have you. Um, Grand Judea Association. I need to touch that because one of the reasons why I want to touch it is this. Grangians here, and I've always stated this, they're highly educated, highly sophisticated, and all Grangians at this point, because I've been involved with them, like the young people, the Grangians are willing to sacrifice to have a genuine development undertaking the process in Liberia, specifically in Grand County. But for some reason, we're not getting to things that we want to do. One person will be leader, and then people start tearing him down. Another person is a leader, and people start tearing him down. I want you able to speak to that here this evening while our young brothers and sisters are listening from the Jida community. Do you care to speak to some of the things that I'm talking about? Because you're not quite a stranger to some of these things. I was wondering if you have any contribution to this conversation here this afternoon, Mr. Young.
Samson, that's a legitimate question. You know, the question, you know, is bigger than even just Grand Jide. Yes, I mean, obviously, we want to talk Grand Jide, so I think it's legitimate to focus on Grand Jide. But that's a bigger question that Liberia has. Look at the African continent. Just look at the continent. How is it that Rwanda is getting all these accolades? How is it that Ethiopia is getting accolades and other countries in the continent are not doing so well? What is it? What is the difference? See, I think that's a question that people need to ask. And if you study those countries carefully, the difference between them and the ones that are not doing well is all in leadership. It's the leadership. Rwanda was backward before Kagame came. Look at Rwanda today. You can say the same thing about Ethiopia. The leaders make the difference. And here's something I want to share with the community. When I was president, because there are certain things, when I was president of the Grand Association, there are certain things that a leader who is serious about transformation needs to do. Foremost is to create confidence in you. That people can say, I can trust William Nyano, I can trust Samson Toe. So sometimes when you come in an environment where everybody is suspicious, sometimes it's not a matter of law, right? It's just even the appearance of impropriety. So when I was president, what I used to do, those days, email was nowhere around. The internet was not what it is now. So what I used to do, because I knew it, every time we came from an event, whether it was the Grand Leader Convention, or whether it was an honorary program, or whether it was a special fundraising program, first thing I made sure, just so that we don't have the appearance of impropriety, I made sure there were two people in charge of the money. and two people who are not connected to me, personally. And when that event is done, each of them will carry their copy of what the amount that we collected was. But for me, that wasn't enough. I will ask them, they'll tell me how much we collected, and they will tell me. They will write it down and give it to me. As soon as I got back to Chicago, that week, I will write a letter to everybody in the community whose address I had. And I will say, we had this event last week. Here was how much we raised. I didn't need to do that, right? I could just wait till the end of the quarter or whatever the period was and make the financial report. But I knew that by doing that, I was building confidence in me. And when I spent money, I made sure it was properly accounted for. So even people who didn't like William Yano, who didn't like the name or didn't like the face, if they chose to challenge what I was doing, they didn't have much to go on. So that is it. And then I realized that if you want people to respect you, you have to respect them. So I respected everybody, right? I didn't talk disrespectfully to anybody. I respected everybody. And I did not do anything in an ad hoc way. If I wanted to do something, first I would draft a policy. For example, the ID card thing, we used to have death benefits. And we say, when somebody died, we should, give them X amount of dollars. Then let's put in place who was qualified and who wasn't qualified. Let it not be William Yanu's, just his decision. So we put in policy. And then we said before we even, implement the policy, let everyone review the policy and make sure we get their buy-in. To me, once you are transparent in the way you do things, then it's difficult for people to pull you down. Of course, there will be people who will hate you for whatever reason, personal reason. People will be envious and they will be jealous. But as a leader, what is required for you to succeed is to be transparent. Don't be ad hoc. And that's what I said to our community today. Because if you go back and read some of my writings when I was president of the Grand United Association, I realized then, as I do today, that this community in the United States, I used to say it's a conduit to funnel resources to Grand. This community in this country is vital. It's vital. One of the things, let me tell you now, on one of my trips to Zwedru, when we were doing this project, one of those trips, we were in the same hotel as a group from LBDI. Echo Bank used to be in Zwedru and they left. So LBDI went to do a survey to see if they could take over the facility. So they did a study. I didn't know then, but just recently someone was telling me after LBDI did the survey and they went to the county government to say they were going to take the place over, they told the county government that besides Monrovia, Zwedru had the higher volume of remittance in Liberia. In other words, the amount of Western Union and MoneyGram money that goes to Liberia every year, Grand Jida was number 2 to Monrovia. That tells you something. It tells you that Grandians here in this America here, maybe not just America, but Europe and even Asia and places like Australia, are sending enormous amount of resources to Grandia. Now, just imagine if we were organized in a way that we can invest these resources in a strategic way, right? Just imagine if we were doing that. And that's my appeal to the young leaders now that we have in the in the Grand community here. There's a big picture that we have to see. There's a big picture. And one of the things I tried to do when I was there was to train people, because some of these things don't come naturally. You have to learn them, right? So give people an opportunity to be trained. And that's what our education and training committee was doing. We're providing trainings to the different chapters, right? How to run an organization. So that's really, and ever since I left, I've been saying that. Some of the board members, I used to tell them, provide an opportunity for training, not just the executive leadership, but even leadership at the board, even all the board members. And that's what I said to them again tonight. Let's do that, because together we can do so much. I was just looking at some of the numbers the other day. If we had a project in Grand Jida and there are 100 Grand Jidians here, and each one say I'm going to contribute, you know what, maybe $100. That's what, $10,000, 100 times 100. And if you put $10,000 in Liberia for 5 years, if you consistently put that $10,000 on your project for 5 years, for 10 years, how much would that investment be? Enormous. But we need the leadership. We need the leadership. My young brothers who are now leading this Grand Leaders Association, I'm just challenging them to take on that challenge, to take it on. Bring our people together. Be transparent. Bend over backwards to do what you have to do. And like I was saying, when I used to write a letter, my poor wife and myself and my children would sit down here at our dining room table and lick all those envelopes and send them out. And everybody saw we were even able to get money. People were sending money in the mail. They didn't wait until we went to convention. When we had a Grand Leader Fund, you know, when people were doing their ID cards, people were sending money to the treasurer, you know, in the mail. Why? Because they had confidence in the system. That's what we need to do.
Again, folks, Sam Sinto, LIBERIA Public Radio. I just want to quickly address some of the comments here. Folks, this is LIBERIA Public Radio. Crown man. I'm allowed to speak Crown. So now I'm tired with the English business. I don't have to have no reason. And to have Honorable Yano, who's also willing to speak Crown with me, I'm enjoying myself. Thank you very much. That's the one that I want to. But let's get back on to this thing here before I open the line. One more question, then I'll open the line, Mr. Yano. Back to the Granjide issue here. I know, as you correctly stated, Granjide, the amount of money we send back home, of course, is small. And so if we have leadership that people can trust, I think it's going to go a long way. So I'm not too sure if it is the trust or people are just, you know, financially fatigue about helping and what have you. I'm not too sure what it is. But the question I want to ask, one last question here before we open the line, Mr. General, is this. Quite recently, Granjidans in the diaspora, it seemed to me, and I could be wrong, but I want you to address the why. If you can even speculate, I will appreciate that. Granjidans now seem to be gravitating towards the district organizations and the district organization leadership. I mean, there are some young district organization leadership, Mr. Yano. If you just get to know them, you will be amazed. There are some that you give them 1 cent and you go to Liberia, you stay there 6 years, you come back, you say, what is 1 cent? The same place you pull out 1 cent, you admitted them. Yes, so I mean, for some, I'm not going to say they're perfect, but Mr. Yano, some of these district organization leaders, they're doing good. Why you think it is? Why is it that Granjidans are gravitating back towards the district level and not on the, so I don't want to say national or what have you, but Granjida proper? Why you think it is?
Well, something, I'm not an expert on these things, so I can just simply give you my own, I can give you my opinion and what I think. I think if there were a forum to have this conversation, you will hear different ideas. You hear different reasons why people think this is the case. My own thing is that it doesn't matter what organization you're in. The question that people ask all the time is, what's in it for me? Why should I spend my money, for example, to go to Grand Leaders Association convention? In fact, you know, why should I spend 2 hours on a teleconference, you know, that Grand Leaders Association? What is in it for me? And what is happening, I think, with the Grand Leaders Association, because what is happening is not that different from what was obtaining before, I think, 1997, when we tried to revamp the Grand Leaders Association. Because at that time, the sectional organizations were strong. Bobo Amuya, the Putu organization, I think at that time of Putu Federation, you know, these organizations were very strong. I guess they're still strong today. But in spite of their strength, somehow we managed to bring the people to the National Grand Leader Association. I think people want to go where they will leave at the end of the day and they say, my money was well spent. Right? And sometimes for these district organizations and these sectional organizations, sometimes they have a project in Liberia that all of them are passionate about that they want to see. But maybe other than that, their social needs are met. If they were to go to a convention and, you know, they honor someone and they kill a cow and, you know, and the festivity, they meet their social needs. What needs are being met in the Grand Leader Association? As long as the Grand Leader Association is not able to meet people's real needs, then it's going to suffer. Then people will go where their needs are being met. And it looks like now, I mean, just from a little that I know, I could be wrong on this one, it looks like the district and the sectional organizations are the ones that are meeting people's needs. So that's where they go. I mean, that's how I see it. I could be wrong.
Okay. All right, folks. Samson to LIBERIA Public Radio. Let me just go ahead now and open a line so that our people will be able to understand what is it we're trying to do here. Samson to LIBERIA Public Radio. Let's go ahead. Give me a call, 916-533-2048. Now, if you are looking at my studio, Samson, you see the side here, my little mouse that I have fell and it broke apart. You see all the pieces over there? So that's why I'm not able to do that. But while I'm waiting for a phone call, and please, if you call, Mr. Yano has been out here for quite a while. Make it brief. We don't want to call you off. And if you can't call, Mr. Yano and myself can just stay here for another 5 minutes and we'll be out of here. Mr. Yano, while we're waiting for the phone call, let me ask you this one more time. And this one on the national level. The Grand Leader Association Student Union in Liberia. Were you able to, while you were there, were you able to engage some of the students from Grand Leader County, and perhaps if you did, what was some of your what would your own take on their learning abilities? Or let me not say learning ability, but let me say learning. Okay, somebody's calling. Hold on 1 minute. Samson to LIBERIA Public Radio. Welcome. What's your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah,
okay, hold on 1 minute. Mr. Nyanu, can you hear them?
I'm hearing you, but I didn't hear the person.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hello.
Can you hear? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, I can now.
Yes, how you doing?
So, are you having technical difficulties?
The man asked you how you doing. You will not hear him. You listen on the computer. You'll be able to hear him. He said, "How you doing?" Go ahead, ask your question, Mr. President.
Yeah, hold on. Let me go to thank you. Yeah, Mr. Nyalo, welcome back to the stage. I listened to everything you said, and I think you made some good points. The only question that I have is, the leadership. Leadership. The president for me, I think we're talking about leadership, whether it's back home or in the diaspora. I think there's a void somewhere. Among us here, it's the same problem. We have leadership issue, and I think it's the same thing back home.
Okay, he's cut off. I believe he trying to say something about a leadership here at home is the same, and I believe I'm just gonna speculate now. What would you say the difference or something? How can we improve situation? Maybe something like that. Go ahead, Mr. Yano.
No, I mean the point is at least the way I understood what he was saying was that what's happening here is not too different from what's happening at home, right. And I agree with him entirely. And it's, like I said, it's not just Grand Leader.
Okay, he's calling back.
Leadership is very important.
Okay.
Hello.
Go ahead. Finish your statement. Please make it quick.
No, leadership is a very critical thing. In fact,
hold on, Mr. Yaro. Go ahead, Mr. President Fred Graham. Go ahead.
Yeah, 30 seconds. You've been on the ground for 6 years. We have, senators that come here, they don't even want to meet with us. We have representatives that come here, they don't even want to meet with us. But so I think the leadership issue is on both sides of the aisle. What is the diaspora and on the ground? Is this assessment that I'm giving, is it right to you or is it wrong?
Samson, can you repeat that question
Yes,
again? I just
he
heard a
said
little
the
bit of it.
leadership, some of the leaders back home, when they come here, they don't want to meet with us. And his assessment is that the same problem we face there is the same thing over there. Is this assessment wrong? That was the question.
No, I think it's basically the same thing. I mean, like I was saying about our legislative caucus. I think one of the challenges they're having, they're not together. Right? Why, I mean, I haven't talked to them personally about this, but, I know they're not together and they haven't been together for a long time. So leadership, something, and Mr. President, leadership is critical, and to me, there's no magic in these things. There's no magic in these things. I mean, there are just certain things you do, I think it was Stephen Covey who said, if a stick is lying down on the ground and you pick up one end of the stick, rest assured that you've also picked up the other end. You can choose your actions. You can't choose the results. No way. You cannot choose the results. So there are certain leadership practices, if you don't do them, the results are natural. They're natural. So the challenges we're having here definitely are challenges that people are confronted with back home. And again, like I said, it's not unique to Granjide. I mean, some groups might be doing a little better than we are doing, but it's not unique to Granjide. I mean, I think it was Napoleon who said, and I hope I get this quotation right. Napoleon said that I will never fear a pack of lions that are led by,
oh my goodness,
of lions.
Yeah,
just think about it now. A group of lions,
hold
you say, I
on
will
one
never
minute,
fear them.
Mr. Collins. Go ahead, Mr. Yano, finish your statement.
Yeah, Napoleon said, I will never fear a pack of lions that, is led by sheep. But he said, I will always fear a flock of sheep that is led by a lion. I mean, just think about it. So leadership is crucial. If you don't get the leadership question correct, there is just very little you can do.
Yeah, Mr. Tim Collins, former president as well. Mr. Collins, are you still there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, we have Mr. Yano with us. Go ahead. What's your comment, question from Mr. Yano?
First of all, I just want to welcome Mr. Yano. Welcome to the United States.
Thank you, Timo.
I can actually hear him something.
No, you won't be able to hear him until you listen to his recording. Go ahead. He said thank you.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, he spoke on a variety of things, interesting. But I just wanted to go back for our own organization, the Granjide Association. And we're talking about fixing and seeing where the problem lies. And specifically, I want to speak to the structure that we put in place. That is the administration, the board, and the entire conference, the body. Today, we got pretty close to 22 chapters. We operate in 22 states. We got 2 persons allotted to each state. We got about almost 44 persons now on the board of directors. My question here is, looking at organization, looking at non-profit organization, looking at what we vision when we revise the Constitution, having 44 representatives on the board of directors.
Okay. Mr. Timmons Collins has dropped, but having 44 members board on the Granjide Association, is that something that perhaps is conducive for this association? I would think his question would be.
Well, I mean, that's the dynamics, with leadership that I was talking about. You know, if you're leading an organization, especially if you are results focused, right? Then at every step of the way, you have to be asking yourself, is what I'm doing, is it working? Am I getting the results that I want or that, you know, that I should be getting? So you should always be willing to monitor and evaluate and sometimes to tweak here and to tweak there, sometimes to redo, sometimes to change. I mean, I agree with Tim 100%. And I think I said it before when I was here. I mean, I don't know if I wrote it or maybe I just shared with a few people that I talked to. That structure is not viable anymore, especially when you're having teleconferences. How are you going to bring 44 people on a teleconference? How long are you going to be there? It's not viable. But the thing is, you have to create the environment so the community can come together and say, this model is not working now, it's outlived its usefulness. Let's do this other model. But as long as you are fighting among yourselves, then you can't even come to that, right? If everybody in the organization is focused on getting results and you are respectful of each other, then you can create an environment where you can, you know, call a special conference or, you know, whatever the forum is, do the SWOT analysis of your current model and say, here are the weaknesses, here are the strengths, you know, and in the 21st century, this one is not working. Let's do it this way. That's what you need to do. I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't think that the structure we have now, you know, is appropriate for what we have. The bowl is too big, right? The bowl is too big. I think we need to look for an appropriate bowl. Maybe even the constitution of the bowl needs to be reevaluated. You know, should it just still be state-based, or should we consider bringing in these district and sectional organizations? And if we're going to do that, how do we do that? Because I know when I was there, we had that debate, and at the time, we didn't think that was appropriate. What we had was manageable. What 7 chapters, 8 chapters was manageable. You know, but right now, I think that's it. That's the realistic assessment you have to do. What it is you in this organization that is working, that you need to keep on doing, and what it is that is not working. You know, and when you come to this conversation, it's important for everybody to know that everyone who is involved is coming to it with no personal interest, with no ulterior motive, that you really just want to see the association be better. And then in the conversation, in the discourse, that we are respectful of each other.
Well, I hate to disappoint you, but as far as I'm concerned, things that I've seen lately, that's not something that will be part of the overall presentation within Graduate Association. I think, and I could be wrong, but it seemed to me that most people come in here with a different motive. And so when these different motives meet the real stuff, things start going differently. So, but anyway, the question one, I think I will be out here for quite a while, Mr. Yano. We'll soon be taking leave of you here. But let me ask you this last question before we take leave of you, sir. You, the former president of the association, when you were there, okay, let me take this one call. Good evening, Mr. President, Mr. Yada. Please make it brief. I want to get out of here within the next 2 minutes, please. Make it brief for us. Go ahead. What's your question and comment? Mr. Yada? Mr. Yada, are you there? Or are you still in Baghdad? Okay. All right. He's gone. Okay. But the question that I have, Mr. Nyano, is when you were there, were you guys not thinking that far to say we need to put some structure in place? Okay, let me go back to Mr. Yara again. Mr. Yara, are you there? Oh yeah, okay, my fault, my fault, my fault. I apologize. I wasn't able to keep up with technology. Let's put it that way. What is your question? Comment to Mr. Yano. Please make it brief. We've been out here for quite a while now. So go ahead.
And that's the question I was asking you. Why you making comments and how you come my phone? That's what I think that's not fair.
What did I do? What?
You have a talk show and I call in to make a point and you're making comments or making something brief. What's going on?
Nothing much, Mr. President. I just want us to make it brief so that we get out of here.
Okay, I will. If I have a talk show host, you need to do this. You start making comments on the call and it's free.
Okay.
So
Okay.
The biggest,
I
Mr. Yano,
appreciate your education. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
I know Mr. Yano is hearing me, I'm not going to hear him. But again, I want to say welcome. I know he came, since he came back, we spoke a couple of days ago. But I'm interested in discussing Liberia, vis-a-vis Grand County leadership. So I don't mean to say the Grand Association in America situation is not important, but I think I'm interested in talking about the topic. King speaking when he spoke, and I was supporting he was very, very eloquent and very precise. So the problem our people are faced with it. Mr. Yano, I know you and I talk, and you mentioned something to me. I don't know whether you think it's not the appropriate time to say it because you consider me as one of the leaders in the community and as your son, and you called me and mentioned to me.
Okay. Sorry about that, but Mr. Yala and Mr. Yano call you inconfident. I think we should keep it as that. Whatever conversation you and Mr. Yano have, we've been out here for more than 2 hours now, and we're keeping to a specific straight program here. So whatever conversation you and Mr. Yano have, I hope that will stay in confident as well. Mr. Yano, I was asking you a question earlier, and the question was, you guys were the leader those days. In fact, you were the leader who really brought Grand Association back to life. But the process when you were leading, were you guys not thinking ahead to say Grangians are coming in drove? This association gonna grow, and therefore these two board uh, from a chapter perhaps might not hold. Well, that kinds of thinking didn't come to you guys at the time.
No, something. I mean, it wasn't that people were not thinking ahead. You have to appreciate where we came from, because when we came because one of the things I tried to do, I really tried to build a foundation. I didn't think that I was the one who was going to do everything, right? In fact, I didn't even think that I was the one who was going to do most of the thing. What I tried to do was to build a foundation, build a professional organization that operated on the basis of laws and rules and policies, and that had a transparent process at which you arrived at a decision or at a project. That's what I was trying to do. So we spent a lot of time. I mean, if you go back now, you even look at our scholarship. It took us, I'd say, maybe 2 years to just go through the process of doing the scholarship guidelines and connecting with people in Liberia. I think, in fact, we gave my first set of scholarships under me was probably in my 3rd year, right? So what I was trying to do was to build a foundation. And what my hope was that, first of all, that people will see that this thing that I was trying to do will work, right? Because you see it in the results. And then the people who will come after me will then build on that foundation. Suddenly things will change. I mean, if I was president of the Grand Youth Association today, there are things that I did, in the early 90s or early 2000 that I wouldn't do today because conditions are different, right? But my hope was that we will build a system that will have built in a mechanism to move from one stage to the other. Mechanism that will say, oh, we have 5 chapters, but now we have 15. We need to do something differently. Unfortunately, that system didn't stand the challenges that came after me. And to me, that was very unfortunate. And I think that's what we need to do now, right? Is to bring everyone on board in an objective, non-partisan way and try to find a solution to make the Grand Youth Association work. Because the Grand Youth Association has to work. It has to. If all these things we are complaining about back home, if we are to really have a significant input in solving these problems and meeting these challenges, this association has to work. It has to. We don't have a choice.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Yano. Before we take leave of you, if you can take 1 or 2 minutes of your time, give us some sort of a wrapping statement here, wrap it up for us, and then we can take leave of you, because I know you've been out here for quite a while now. And again, I want to really, really thank you for your patience, because we were having some serious technical issue earlier, but you stuck with us, and you believe in us, and we want to appreciate that for staying with us. We will hope to have you on again, and then we can go into other issues affecting our community here and back home, and perhaps you will continue to provide knowledgeable be another knowledgeable person in our community to provide some information that would be uh, usable for our brothers and sisters here and back home. And I think you do have the ability to do so. But before we take leave of you, I just want to say if there's one or two words you want to make here, and then we can take leave of you.
Well, Samson, first I want to say thank you for giving me this platform to be able to interact with you and a few persons that called tonight and kind of share my experience from these 5-6 years that I was in Liberia. You know, everything that I saw in Liberia kind of validated what I was saying, 10-15 years ago. What I thought the Grand Leader Association could do for the challenges that I saw. My conviction is even more strengthened today than when I said those things in the early 2000s. That the Grand Leader Association is vital to Grand Leader. It's vital. It's not a perennial, it's not a peripheral thing. It's vital to Grand Leader. And the way I want us to look at it is that, you know, those of you that have science background, look at light, right? We get all this light. When light is scattered, it's not, you know, it's not that powerful. What they do when they design or develop a laser beam, what they try to do was to concentrate light. And once you concentrate that light, it can cut steel. It's the same light, but you just concentrate it and focus it, and it becomes a deadly weapon. And I think that's how we have to look at the whole situation in Liberia, my people. I want to end with this story. I mean, let me just, you know, I think I told this story before, something on one of your show. Yeah. I was on my way back to Liberia on one of my trips. And between Brussels and Freetown, you know, on this trip, by the time you get around there, everybody's tired and people are standing up in the plane and having conversation. So I got into a conversation with this lady from Washington, D.C., an American. I asked her, you know, you're going to Liberia? She said, yes. I said, you know, what do you do in Liberia? And then she said, oh, I'm working with the Ministry of Education. And I asked her, what are you doing with the Ministry of Education? She said, oh, you know, we're developing a new curriculum. Because she said research has shown that people learn better in their first tongue, in their first language, than when they're doing second language. So in other words, teach Liberian children, you know, these concepts, you know, using their dialects. And she said, we developed a curriculum. We're going to pilot it. So I said, oh, where? And then she said, oh, we're going to pilot it in a development corridor. Now, I think that was maybe my second trip to Liberia, you know. So I didn't know what she meant by development corridor. So I asked her, what is development corridor? She said, oh, there's a corridor in Liberia that has been identified as a development corridor. I said, where is it? And she named the counties. She named the counties. They were Nima, Bon, Lofa, Magibi, and Grand Bassa. And she said, so when we try in a development corridor and it works, then we will expand it throughout the rest of the country. There are things happening in Liberia that we need to be aware of. Unless we get people who are involved in these things, the development corridor thing, that was my first time hearing about it, you know, that can go there and then advocate and say, how do we get in the development corridor? You know, what it is we need to do to get this and to get that. That's what we need to do. And there are things that we can do for ourselves, that we need to do for ourselves. So again, I just want to appeal to the community here. You know, there's a whole lot at stake, much more at stake than you and myself. You know, and I don't believe God made a mistake when he made you crown person or, you know, crown man or crown woman, or, you know, or Grand Gideon. We must compete with the rest of the country. It's on our shoulders, you and I. Because if our country looks terrible, When the other companies are moving ahead, guess what? It's not just Grand Gita, though, it's you. Because when people ask you and they say, where are you from? You say Grand Gita, and Grand Gita is underdeveloped, is deplorable, it's a poor reflection on you. So that's a challenge I like to leave with you. I like to really leave this challenge with the community and the community leaders. This division we have now really has to come to an end. We can't afford to have two Grand Gita associations in America. We need to combine our efforts. We need to combine our efforts. So I'm appealing to the leadership on both sides that we will see wisdom to end it and bring this association, this community together. Thank you, Samson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yano. We appreciate it. I think always, whenever that I have you on my show, I tend to melt because I really enjoy having conversation with you. Because I think not only do I learn, but I also your conversation usually inspiring, and I think that's something all Grandians need to at least when you're here to hear you talk. And I think when we asked for you to appear on our show and you accepted it, it just make us feel good again tonight, and we want to appreciate it.
But Samson,
Yes.
let me just say this before you go.
Okay.
Beginning the first weekend in August, because this thing that I've been saying tonight, I intend to say it to as many Grandians as possible.
Okay.
So beginning the first weekend in August, my wife and I will be making several trips. We'll be in Philadelphia. I think we're leaving from here on August 3rd. We'll be there that weekend.
Okay.
Then we will go to New England for one weekend. We intend to go to Iowa for another weekend, and we intend to go to Minneapolis for another weekend. And I just want to share this burden, with the community. As many people as will listen, I want to just share this thing with you. So if you are in any of those places, mark those weekends. If you forget, send me an email and I will tell you when I will be in your area. Thank you.
If you're going to the places, there are people who you're in contact with who are going to be organizer, or you're going to talk to the community leaders, Grandian community leader, Liberian community leader. How's this gathering and conversation section going to be like?
What I'm doing, I've contacted the local Grand Gita Association chapter leaders in these places. So in New England, for example, the local chapter president and Mr. Harrison City are planning the event for me.
Okay.
In Pennsylvania, my cousin Melvin Town is planning the event. He's going to link up to the local chapter president. In Iowa, Matthew White is linking up with the local chapter president to plan the event. And I talked to the chapter president for Minnesota. He's working with Mrs. Yunle to plan the event there. So, you contact any of these people, they will give you details.
Okay. Where in the spectrum of ladder that you keep climbing, where is Liberian Public Radio? When are you going to, whatever conversation you plan to have with the rest of the people, when are you going to come on talk to us here on Liberian Public Radio as well? Is there any specific
you
time
have my number. You have my number anytime. The Liberian Public Radio calls me. I'm available. I'll talk to you anytime.
I know. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. And I also want to thank Madam Yanu, who's been helping me tonight to be somehow a second hand, a second eye, pair of eyes by monitoring what is going on. And I want to thank her very much for even sitting there and letting us having a conversation and patiently listening to us monitoring the event. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Again, Mr. Nyaru, I want to thank you very much for taking your time to join us here on Liberian Public Radio. Thank you very much. We appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, Samson.
Again, folks, Samson to Liberian Public Radio. We will now do this here. Let me do one thing here first before. I can't dance for you tonight, though, because there's no way that I can dance. I'm not quite set up for that. So let's do that. Mr. Nyano, thank you very much, and we'll say good night to all of you.
Good night.
Okay, folks, that's Samson to Liberian Public Radio. Let me just close it up here very quickly. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Nyano for taking time and being with us here tonight. It's a wonderful, wonderful program. It still is. We enjoy. We decided to go a different route tonight, where we were able to speak with Mr. Nyano in our dialect. It's not so much of me wanting to be Grand Gide. If this is what you guys need to know. Those of you that was writing and making comment here. This particular institution, it started with Boston Radio. And we thought, no, we can't be that single-minded. And we went for Grand Jide, Voice of Jide. And then Mr. So said, no, we can't just have it because he's have a broad mind. He's somebody who like to be involved. So he said, we can't call it Voice of Jide. Then what happened to the rest of Liberia? And this particular institution is called Liberian Public Radio because we allow ourselves to be viewed by all Liberians as an institution for which we carry Liberian Public Radio. However, we, the personalities here on Liberian Public Radio, do have the right to speak our dialect. If anybody from any other tribe you work for Liberian Public Radio, I don't think Mr. Slow would tell you, said, don't speak your dialect. I'm kind of a little bit shocked to hear brothers and sisters, not condemning, but questioning the wisdom of me speaking my dialect. When was the last time you heard something told me as a Congo man? Yeah, I used to think I was a Congo man, but I'm not. So if I have the opportunity to speak my dialect, folks, please, let us don't question it. I'm not going to insult people because they don't understand my dialect. I think we should appreciate diversity because speaking the dialect means that we have the capabilities. While speaking the English, we can immediately switch to our culture. Why can't we be proud of that? Instead, we try to condemn it. We try to question the motives. We try to question those who practice this behavior. Let us try to desist from that because it's not helping any one of us. And if Mr. Yanu was willing, agree to speak the dialect. First of all, what you don't know is this. I know Mr. Yanu been away from the country for a very long time. To be honest with you, I wanted to test his crime. Then you say, who are you to test anybody's crime? Well, Mr. Yanu is a crime. I want to speak crime. And then people start questioning, why am I doing that for? So, folks, if you come on my show and you feel that I'm speaking crime, which is my dialect, I was born in Toad Town. I say Sony Wayne, I say Montreal, I say Nima County, I say Grand Bassa County, I say Lofa County, I say Toad Town. I can speak the crime, and I must be allowed to do so. Does not mean that I'm being disrespectful. Does not mean that I'm insulting people. Or does that mean that I'm saying things that I don't want other Liberians to hear? But I thought it would be neat and unique. And quite frankly, I thought all of you would appreciate the fact that Mr. Yanu and I speak in crime. Whatever Mr. Yanu have for people to learn from Mr. Yanu, all of these years that Mr. Yanu been around, all of these years Mr. Yanu been on Liberian Public Radio, people have not learned from that still, that tonight they will get a PhD from Mr. Yanu's class, for which I should not speak crime. Folks, let us don't do this. Let's have a good time. Folks, I understand, but all of you, those of I'm reading the comment right now. Those of you that are from Liberia, all of you, most of you have dialect. And if I come on a public forum like this, why can't I speak my dialect? Why don't you want me to be genuine? Should I always come to you and start speaking book? No. Sometimes I want to speak my dialect. Give me the opportunity to do that. I'm sorry if you don't understand it. We cannot have this kinds of mentality back when we have 2 or 3 people sitting there and you say, yeah, what are you speaking your dialect for? What's wrong with that? As long as they're not insulting you in your dialect, what difference does it make? If there's something they're discussing that perhaps you need to understand or you need to know, they will let you know. But Mr. Yanu said we're not talking anything outside of the realm of public discussion. We have some crown people in our mix, and I believe some of them were enjoying the conversation. So why do you want us to deprive those just so that we can satisfy you alone? Can you not understand? Will you not be able to sympathize with us? The fact that we were speaking our dialect. Samson told our public radio folks. Thank you, Power Person. I did, and I'm reading some stuff. I did. Before speaking the dialect, I told the listener that in a few minutes, Mr. Yanu and myself are going to go back home and we're going to speak our dialect. Perhaps you came late, and that's why you didn't hear. Go back and review the tape. And the fact that you will not do anything to me because before I start shaking down here, yeah, the reason I was born into town. If God want me to speak different dialect, God would have put me somewhere in Grand Cape County. Yeah? Mo abliju, mo clown you, and poor abliru. Nepo na abliru up and down upon you, eh? Me cap pontena ye tere. I'm a woman there, no egg I'm waiting. Eh? What quality one? Okay. All right, folks, let me get out of here. This is Sam Sinto, Labrador Public Radio. I want to thank all of you very much for listening to Sam Sinto again tonight. We appreciate it. Let's get out of here. It's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. Sam Sinto, Labrador Public Radio. I will say good night to all of you. And then we ask you to tune in again. Tomorrow, I will try my best this time around, Saturday, to see if I can come on very early because I have some music I want to play for you tomorrow morning as well. Sam Sinto, good night, folks.
mon amant. Hey, hey, mon amant. Hey, hey, mon amant. Ateito, ateito, ateito. Nalukio na kati ya Kinshasa mobimba mama e. Na bani na foira fikine. Na koti na sine paradume, na koti na raki. Na koti na sine palace, na koti na Bellevue. Na leki na tipekae, na koti na endetwae. Ateito, 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 ateito mon amour. Hey, hey, mon amant, maman, mon amant. Hey, hey, mon amant. Sambe aneito, na lingio, mama aneito. Hey, hey, mon amant. Mama aneito, na ponio, mama aneito. Hey, hey, mon amant. Janine amelo, na lingio, mama amelo. Hey, hey, mon amant. Elongi na yo ekati me monte manga na kolela. Hey, hey, mon amant. Loposo na yo esilisinga mayalenga na kolela. Hey, hey, mon amant. Sambe aneito, na lingio, mama aneito. Hey, hey, mon amant. Sambe aneito, na ponio, mama aneito. Hey, hey, mon amant. Janine amelo, na lingio, mama aneito. Hey, hey, mon amant.